Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. So, what are we going to see in this video? So, in our previous video on Linux, we saw about the top command. So, in this video, we are going to see about the command to check the disk usage in Linux. So, before we see how to see the disk usage, we will now see why we have to check the disk usage in Linux. So the first point, the first reason that we have to check the disk usage is the capacity planning. Since monitoring the disk usage helps us in capacity planning and resource management, and by understanding how much disk space is used and how much is available, we can anticipate and prevent potential issues such as running out of space or reaching critical utilization levels. And when coming to the second reason, which is preventing system failures, since if there are any insufficient disk space arises, that can lead to system failures, the performance degradation, or application crashes. And by regularly checking the disk usage, we can proactively identify and address situations where available space is running low, avoiding disruptions to system operations. And the third reason is optimizing the performance. So whenever the disk is nearing its capacity limits, it can negatively impact the system performance, and high disk utilization can lead to slower read and write speeds, and this will increase the response times and reduce overall system efficiently. And by monitoring the disk usage will help us to identify the bottlenecks and take appropriate actions to optimize the performance. And then when coming to the fourth reason, which is identifying the disk space hogs, so by monitoring the disk usage, we can identify directories or files that are consuming excessive disk space, and this enables us to take corrective measures such as deleting unnecessary files, relocating large files, or implementing disk cleanup strategies to reclaim disk space. And when coming to the fifth reason, which is detecting any abnormal behavior in the system, so by if there are any unexpected or sudden increases in disk usage, that may indicate any abnormal system behavior or unauthorized activities like unauthorized file creation or any malware infection or excessive login. So by regularly checking the disk usage will help us to identify any issues and take necessary security measures. And then the last reason is to ensure the data integrity. So when we have sufficient disk space, it will be essential for proper functioning of various system components, including file systems, databases, and log files. And by ensuring adequate space prevents data corruption, file system errors, or disruptions in critical operations that rely on disk space availability. So overall, so we will see the summary at the end of the video. So now we will see how to use the or how to check the command, the disk usage in Linux, and the command for checking the disk usage is df. So df will give us the disk usage in Linux, and there are various other options to check the disk usage. So for example, if you enter df and a hyphen h, so this will give us the value in a human readable format. For example, so in the previous example we can see the numbers in a very long range of numbers, but here it has clearly gave us that the size is 460 gig and the used is 166 gig and the available is 294 gig and the use percentage. So in this way, so when you see the previous one, so there are it's not human readable, and when we enter it with df space hyphen h give us a human readable format. And then the next option is to enter df hyphen t, so this will display the system, the file system type. So here in the previous example we don't see the file system type, but here we can see the file system type. So here we can see it is WSLF file system, and then we have temp file system, and then the drive file system. So this way we can see the file system which is using the df-t. And then the third option is to use df-i, which displays the inode usage. So here we can see the inode usage. So what is inodes? So inodes are data structures in a file system that stores metadata about files. So metadata is something like a data about data, and such as file permissions, the ownership, the timestamps, and the file size. So when we use -i option with df command, it provides details about the total number of inodes, the number of used inodes, the free inodes, and the inode usage percentage for each system. So this way, so the output includes here such as the file system, the inodes, the I used, the I free, the I use percentage, and the mounted on. So the inodes column represents the total number of inodes in the system, the file system, and then the I used indicates the number of used inodes, and the I free shows the number of free inodes, and the I use percentage represents the percentage of the inode usage. So checking the inode usage is important in certain scenarios, such as when you have a large number of small files or directories, and if the node usage reaches its maximum limit, we may not be able to create new files or new directories, and even if there is free space available on the disk. So monitoring the inode usage helps us to identify situations where we might be running out of inodes and need to take corrective actions, such as deleting unnecessary files or increasing the inode limit for the file system. And then when coming to the last option, which is the df-x, so this will actually exclude the specific file system types from the out. So here in this example, so previously when I gave df-x, so this is an invalid format because we might need to give the file type which we do not want, or we want to avoid. So for example, if I'm just typing df, it gives me all the file system. So what if in case if I want to just remove the tmp file system, so if I give the file system here, see for example df-x and then tmpfs, so this will remove the temp file system, and it has given all the other file systems, which is the rootfs and the c drive. So in this way we can avoid, or in this way we can exclude the file type which we do not want to display. So finally, so this again, the df is the command to check the disk usage. So in overall summary, what does this disk command helps us, or why do we need to check the disk usage in Linux, is because it is crucial for maintaining the system stability, again the performance part. So it helps us to optimize the performance, and it prevents the failures and ensure efficient resource utilization, and it also allows us to proactively manage the disk space, detect any issues regarding to the disk, and it takes appropriate actions to maintain a health and reliable system. So with that we come to an end. We will meet with one another interesting video on Linux interview questions in our next video. Until then, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little's Law.